One. Hey, college wrestling fans, it's JT1Wrestle here. Our guest today is a former coach at Delaware Valley, and now he will be heading the brand new program at Eastern University out in Pennsylvania. Please welcome to the show head coach Andrew Taylor.
Hey, thank you for having me.
So, coach, Eastern Eagle Wrestling gets started in 1965. We have a 19-year run up through 1985. Unfortunately, the program has dropped. It's been 41 years, and now we're finally going to see Eagle Wrestling back on the mat. You were chosen to head both the men and women's programs. I'm curious to know, did they reach out to you? Did you reach out to them? Take us on that journey and tell us how you became the head coach at Eastern.
So it was kind of a little bit of a mutual interest, I'd like to think. I had originally reached out to them just because I'd heard on the fall that, rumblings of just the level of investment that they were putting into not just athletics, but that they were going to put into wrestling. As a big time wrestling coach and lover of the sport, I got pretty interested in it pretty quick. We had done some really good things at Delaware Valley, and I started to feel that it could be a good time to, branch out and move on. And so I had reached out to them, and then when they got in contact with me, it was a pretty heavy mutual interest. And then I went and saw the campus and talked to them about just what their level of interest was or level of investment was. And I had to get it, had to go for the job with everything that I had, and it's been awesome ever since.
Eastern also added a football program here just a few years ago. And, just from reading up on them and watching some videos on them, I've noticed that athletic director Eric McNeely seems very committed, very passionate, very enthusiastic about the growth and success of athletics at Eastern. I believe he himself actually comes from a basketball background. What has it been like working with him and having an athletic director with that type of passion?
It's been tremendous. I'm a very competitive person. And so to have the opportunity to work for, not just Eric, but also Brian Bingaman, who is his right hand and is going to have a major impact on all the athletics at Eastern, has been outstanding. It's somebody that, is like-minded. It's somebody that, doesn't take no for an answer, and is a creative in everything that he does. He's very resourceful, and so for me, that's everything because when you're starting a program, you have to be resourceful. When you're rebuilding a program like we did at Del Val, you have to be resourceful and you have to be creative and you have to learn. When an answer is no, okay, how can I figure out to make that a yes? How can I figure out my own way to make that a yes? So it's been awesome. It's been very refreshing, and just to have somebody at the helm that's as competitive as you is certainly you can feel it, and certainly, your student athletes are going to feel it.
Now, you come to Delaware, excuse me, opposite way around. You come to Eastern from Delaware Valley, where you had a lot of success. Last year alone, we got four NCAA Division III qualifiers. Talk about the success of the Aggies and wanted to bring that same type of success for the Eagles.
Yeah, so Del Val, the success and the history speaks for itself there. So when I got to that program, that was a major mission, was revitalize that program, rebuild that program, and reestablish them. And I think we did just that. We had a national qualifier every year. In my coaching career, I had a team high 14 wins last year, 2 years ago. And last year we had a little bit of a tumultuous year, and as far as a dual team, it was a little bit unsuccessful just because of all the injuries we went through. But the guys that we brought to the national tournament and having a regional champion, it was a success from the individual standpoint. And so, we want to bring that culture to Eastern. We want to bring an even better culture to Eastern, to where our guys are continuing to wrestle for themselves and the team, and they're building that brotherhood of like-minded individuals, where not only are they going to be competitive on the mat, but they're going to have an intense focus in the classroom, and then they have that community involvement around them as well. Because it's not just these 4 years for these guys; it's that lifelong brotherhood after. And that's what means a lot to me. And I think that's what we really started to build at Del Val, and that's what I know we're going to build here too. And we brought the right guys over that I believe wanted to follow. And, I think the biggest thing is, helping them establish that with young freshmen that we're going to bring in these next couple of years.
You're talking about some of the guys that you are going to be bringing over. Out of your four NCAA Division III qualifiers you had last year, you're going to be bringing back Mid-Atlantic Conference runner-up and Region 3 bronze medalist Malik Asfor to Eastern with you. You're also going to be bringing back Nick De Lorenzo, who was the Middle-Atlantic Conference Rookie of the Year 2 years ago. We very well could be looking at Eastern's first in your first season, your first Mid-Atlantic champions, your first Division III qualifiers, maybe even your first Division III All-Americans. What does it mean to Eastern to be able to have the ability from the get-go, from day one, to have this type of success right out of the gate?
I mean, it establishes validity for our program and the competitiveness. And you look at those two guys. Mal's been, unbelievably loyal to the process with us, and he is taken to myself and Coach Trampe, and it showed when he didn't win his regional semis against the guy he had beaten previously and never lost to. He bounced back, beat a guy that he had already beaten three times before, which is a very tough match to go and overcome. And then in the go-to match, he's got to wrestle the top 10 kid in the country. And he handled it. And, it was because he had full trust in the coaching staff. It's because of all the work that he had put in with us. And, for me, it felt really good when he decided that he was going to, self-release and come with us. And didn't even bat an eyelash. And I think it was a testament to just his trust in us and his ability that he knew that he could win a national title with us. And that's going to mean a lot for us because, um, you know, guys that are in PA want a competitive wrestling program. It's the best. We believe it's the best wrestling state in the country. And so, it shows recruits that we can develop. It shows recruits that, we can get guys to the next level. And Di Lorenzo is that way too. Di Lorenzo, I believe, could have been an All-American last year. He had blew out his elbow in his third match of the entire season. He was majoring a guy that was wrestling at the national tournament this spring. So, that kid is going to have a great rest of his career. He's got 3 years, and he was the conference rookie of the year, and he's just a workhorse. He's everything that we want our program to embody. The way he attacks the practice room, the way he goes out and competes, the pressure that he puts on his opponents, his coachability. Like he's an all-around great kid. I mean, he was an RA at Del Valle. He's hoping to be an RA here, so he's got community involvement too. Like, he's something that a program can stand for. And those two guys are really big culture pieces for us, and those two guys are really going to, be helpful on the recruiting trail. And the big thing that I think about them that helps us is neither of them were those blue chippers that you would call from high school, right? They only qualified for the state tournament 2 times and never placed. And Malik was, a top 12 guy last year, beating some of the best kids in the country, really close to beating All-Americans. And Nick is no different. So we're pretty excited for what they can do, and obviously they're going to be huge pieces of our future.
One of the things I got to comment to about what you said is I am an Iowa boy. I'm from Iowa. But even I have to yield. I have to be honest. There's no getting around it. Pennsylvania, without a doubt, is the toughest high school wrestling state. I'm sure I'll have a couple of death threats now from people from New Jersey and Ohio for saying that. But that's just a fact, and you and I both know it. Speaking
I'm an Ohio
about
guy, so I get it. I get it too.
yeah, the Ohio people. Trust me, I've seen those fights since I was 7 years old, and now I'm 40.
Oh, yeah.
So been there, done that. So speaking of right out of the gate, originally it was posted that varsity competition would not begin until 2026, 2027. But I read that you guys are ready to go. Let's get going. Let's get 25, 26 going. Well, what led to the decision to go ahead and let's get started?
So, it was really big part of the transition. I really didn't want to take a year off competing. I really didn't want to, sit in the wings and recruit. I'd done that in 2020 when I was, recruiting through COVID, and the year off competition takes a toll. So I had put in that, we'd liked if I could very possibly do it, we would like to compete right away. And that was a big, thing for me in taking the job is, having a program that would invest in being able to do that. And not just in any capacity, but compete for a conference title, compete in the regional tournament, get guys to the national tournament. And in turn, what that would do, it would show recruits that we can be competitive immediately. And so for us, I'm super grateful that Eric and Bing were supportive of that, that the administration was supportive of that. Because now you're not just looking at an investment of two coaches and recruiting throughout the year. You're looking at an all-in investment right away for buses, travel, charter, gear, mats, and all that. So it was a year ahead of the timeline. But between the two programs for men's and women's, we have about 20 to 22 kids coming in. So I think they saw the seriousness that we brought and the competitiveness that we brought, and they were excited to get started right away.
You're talking about the wrestlers you're bringing over, but you're also going to be bringing over your assistant wrestling coach, who you've already mentioned a few times, Zach Trampe, who was a two-time NCAA Division One qualifier for Binghamton back in the day. He's helped you out the past 3 seasons at Delaware Valley. Talk about Trampe and the role that he plays in helping Eastern men's as well as women's wrestling to become a success.
I mean, he's been in the foxhole with me for 3 years, from just being a men's wrestling coach to then in his first year as my assistant, we took on the women's wrestling program, on a day's notice, really. And yeah, two-time Division One national qualifier, but in this area alone in District One PA, he just entered his second Hall of Fame for the regional Hall of Fame. The guy was a three-time state placer, two-time finalist, and state champ for Powerhouse Council Rock South. He's got a laundry list of names that he's competed against and beaten, and his expertise and just being around a guy like that, his wrestling knowledge is unbelievable. And the guys that are around his weight between 25 and 157, he's going to be able to wrestle with every day, put his hands on them, and it's going to be a really good experience for them. And then not only that, he's learned so much just about coaching and wrestling from this side of things that it's been able to help him with the women's side too. And our women have always pushed him to try to get in some of those practices, and then you started seeing him creep into some of those Del Val women's practices, which has been great because they deserve some of that expertise as well. And he's just been a guy that's been loyal to the process and loyal to me, and that was a big part of it too. Is when I was coming over, I had to have him with me. So that was part of the conversations, was making sure that I could have this guy that I know is going to be with me through it, that I know could help build this program the way we want to build it, and would be every bit as excited and invested in it too. So he's the man.
Speaking of the women's program, you guys were also very successful with the women at Delaware Valley as well. Last year, we had 3 national qualifiers. Are you bringing over any of the women to Eastern from Delaware Valley?
Yeah, so we had a couple of the national qualifiers. They're committed to coming over. Jasenia Camargo at 103, she's enrolled, ready to go. Josie Weir at 117, she's excited about it. We have Sophie Pollock, she's excited about it too. She was our 207, and she's a two-time national qualifier. The big thing too is we have a really good transfer from Lock Haven coming in. One of our seniors, Lily Kinder, she's a two-time region placer. She's beaten girls ranked in the country. She's coming in there. We have 2 top 5 freshmen that were ranked nationally. Savannah Witt and Zoe Haynes are coming in as well to be foundations of our program. So, our women's team, we feel like are going to be hot right out of the gate, and they're going to be really good, and they're going to be something that is going to be nationally recognized. We have girls that have ambitions that want to get on world teams. So, it's something that really helps, especially with the growth of women's wrestling and all of us being in one division. We have an opportunity to be competitive with the highest ranks right away.
We talked about the success of your men and women's wrestling team on the mat, but there's also the fact that all of these young men and young women are student athletes. And you yourself have always been very big into academics. While you were helping out at Baldwin Wallace, the wrestling team was ranked number two in the entire NCAA Division III for academics. And you've been known to help produce Middle Atlantic Conference academic as well as NWCA Scholar All Americans. What does it mean for you to have your men and women also do really well in the classroom?
I think that's huge. That's the cornerstone of wrestling, right? Is this is the toughest sport in the world, and we do the toughest things. And if you are really that tough, wrestling is not just a one aspect mindset. It's okay if I'm able to get everything done on the mat, then I'm able to go be tough in the classroom. I'm able to sit in the front. I'm able to communicate with my professors, turn in the assignments in a timely manner, study the right way, talk to the right people, and then I'm a big believer in that academic All-American status, the conference, all academic, because that's something that you put on a resume and you not only tell a future employer, hey, listen, like I got it done on the mat, but I'm a triple threat. I'm a great person and I get it done in the classroom. I'm going to help elevate the environment around us. So it means a lot to me because that's not an easy thing to accomplish. You have to have cumulative above a 3.2 for both semesters. You have to win over 66% of your matches, starting above 50% of the varsity matches, or place the regional tournament. I mean, there's a lot of criteria that it involves, and it's not easy. And I think if you accomplish those two things, right, you're a good wrestler and you're academic All-American. I don't know many knuckleheads and guys that are getting in trouble socially that are still earning that award. So that means you're a really well-rounded individual. You can market yourself, and you're going to have a really competitive lifestyle, not just in wrestling but outside of it. And the biggest thing too, and I talk about this to recruits all the time, is wrestling's going to go away at some point in time. Like you're always going to be a part of it. It's always going to be a part of you. But you are going to be a father one day. You are going to be a husband. You are going to be a mother, you're going to be a wife, you're going to be an employer. You have to be able to be tough in those aspects too, and that's really what I think that award or those recognitions embody.
Let's talk a little bit about the community of St. David's. You're only 15 miles outside of Philadelphia for wrestling enthusiasts and fans like myself. If you're in the area, very accessible, very easy to get to. You got Interstate 476 right outside. There's also a train, a Amtrak that goes in and out of town. Very accessible to get to. Um, how has the school and the community reacted to having wrestling back at their college?
They're excited. A lot of people, since it has been 40 years, they don't know much what wrestling's about, but they're super pumped. Radnor High School is right next door, and they're really excited because it brings college wrestling right to their doorstep, which we're really excited about because when you have different high schools that are in the area, I mean, I believe District 1 is super competitive in wrestling in that Southeast Pennsylvania area. And you got Penn RTC right nearby. Across the border, you got Princeton RTC. Ursinus even has Montco RTC. So you have all these different hotbeds of wrestling regional training centers. You have multiple Division I programs down in Philly, and I just think that this area is a hotbed for wrestling, and it's really exciting that the community's excited about it because we want to do matches at local high schools. We're obviously going to be recruiting heavily out of these areas. It's great for the women's wrestling because you have this massive club, Misfits, and other different clubs in the area that it encapsulate what wrestling should be all about, and that's so many opportunities to compete, so many opportunities to get coached, and like you said, it's an unbelievable area. We're near KOP. We're right 5 minutes from a school like Villanova, so you go down the street and you get this beautiful campus, and Wayne is really it's neat. It's cool little small town vibe. So there's a lot to do, and it's going to be a great wrestling area.
Well, Coach Taylor, almost called Coach Andrew. Switch the names around. Coach Andrew Taylor, I want to thank you for being a part of JT1 Wrestle today. It's been an absolute pleasure. Sure wish you the best of success in the 2025-2026 season.
Thank you for your constant support of Division III wrestling too. It's the best, man. We love it.